Disclaimer, nothing here is final and this was a beta, so everything's subject to change, so don't go asking me why things are different. Okay, Sky Raider is truly the ace of the sky. He's the kind of guy that says, I see what you're doing, and I'm going to do it better, with a barrel roll this time. I'm going to go over abilities, talk about the gameplay, and then tell you how this is the most ridiculous S-tier striker in the beta. Then, at the end, I will mention how I would change it to give my opponents a chance, because it was very unfair every time I was playing this or my friends were playing this striker. So, from the previous testings, I gotta say, I didn't quite vibe with the Falcon despite being a fan of Ace Combat, but Sky Raider really triggered something in me. I immediately painted it in Zeta Gundam colors, and I had to blast that classic OST while I played it too. Now, playing Sky Raider is like playing a big damage fighter bomber. I'm constantly doing missile strafes over the battlefield, and if you're into being a bomber from up high doing massive amounts of explosive damage, then this is definitely something that you want to try out. Let's break down the abilities. First, it's got an energy rifle. Now, it's pretty boring, it does a little burst, or you can charge it for a bigger shot. Now, this charge shot is very awesome because it has partial shield penetration. What that means is that you get permanent health damage for every shot, even if they had full shields. Now, you should be trying to use this every chance you get because of said properties. It's basically like using a railgun in Ace Combat, except you can lock on with it. Now, the next ability is the energy missiles. They're super reliable and does an AoE lingering damage over time. Now, this AoE damage can hit allies, and I may have killed an ally once, but these are unsubstantiated rumors, and I would never team kill for the greater good. But even if I did, who cares? Sky Raider is so good at killing enemies that even if you team killed, you could be forgiven, I think. The tracking on the missile is quite good, and you can evict those squatter Triceras that just want to sit on objectives and not ever move. This is a really good get off your ass tool. The next amazing ability is the Transformable mode. Now, Falcon has a Transformable mode too, other people have two modes, but not everybody has the ability of flight, but also spawn two drones to shoot down enemy missiles. This makes it so that you aren't the only powerhouse in the sky, and you don't have to worry about those pesky falcons trying to shoot you with missiles or whatever. Like, whoa, please, miss me with that. There's only one ace pilot in the sky, and it's Sky Raider.
First kill. Enemy down. Enemy down.
Now, I hear that you like missiles, so how about I just give you more missiles? How about a jamming missile that messes up your opponent's targeting so that they can't lock onto you? Now, how about that jamming missile also creating a smoke cloud for you and your team to protect against energy damage? Now, if that's not enough, how about a missile that spawns more missiles so you can paint the entirety of the screen with missiles? Yeah, this isn't a scam. This isn't a dream. When you buy the Sky Raider today, we'll throw in a free pack of missiles so you can missile while you're missiling. And you know what? I'm about to do what was called stating a fact here. If you don't like this fact, you should seek help and maybe cope. The Sky Raider is stupidly good in the beta. It really had everything you can imagine. It had the range, the mobility, the shield penetration, the damage. I can't stress how fun this striker was, and the only way to explain it is to back up a little bit and go on a tangent. So hear me out. There's a particular animation sequence that's really popular in anime called the Etano Circus. It's basically a character trying to dodge a lot of missiles with extreme maneuvers that, well, you would put enough G-forces to kill the average person. Now imagine you're not the one dodging. Imagine you're the one doing the missile spam and forcing other people to run around. It was such a power trip playing the striker, and I wish, I really wish I had enough time to tell her how I really feel. But before that, I want to hear from you. I don't want your subs or your likes. I just want to hear what is your favorite flying mecha of all times. Mine is a pretty harsh split between the Kyrios from Double O and the Valkyrie series from Macross. And if I just had a little bit more time, I could have gone up and mustered the courage to tell Sky Raider Chan that I would nerf it into the goddamn ground. Alright, maybe not that extreme, but I basically just wanted probably a 20 to 40% increase, probably a 40% increase for missile reload times. And no more shield penetration on the charge shot. This is just to increase the amount of time in between bonding strafes to give enemies more time to respond. It limits the ability of the Sky Raider to basically big burst multiple targets in a single fight. And to compensate me asking for these extreme, devastating, S tier nerfs, I'll tell you what I learned playing Sky Raider. So you're essentially an executioner and a bomber, so you should act like it. Don't be the first one to charge into the enemy. You'll get obliterated by sniper fire or inferno blasts. Put on your bomber goggles, think about it, and do some horizontal strafes instead. If you're coming from the side, they're not gonna likely to spot you. They're gonna be focused on your front line. And then you do a little strafing run and get 1 or 2 targets low. Priority targets are, of course, snipers, other flyers, but even those melee units, they typically don't have that much health. So when you're unloading your missiles into them, typically that's gonna either secure a kill for your team, or you can come around the second pass and pick them off with your charge shot that does penetration. Boom. And if you're ever caught in a bad situation, this leads to tip number 2. You should be abusing the transformation button to quickly 180 when in the air. This is one of the most important skills to learn when playing Sky Raider. Whenever I'm getting chased by another air units or maybe getting blasted by a sniper, I would detransform and either go onto the ground by pressing the Alt button on your keyboard, or turn around and get momentum back. Now this is a very extreme maneuvers move, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, but this is a skill, kind of like target priority, that separates a wingman from an ace pilot. So please practice this, and if you do, you'll destroy any falcons that try to run up on your behind, And the third tip I really have is harass. And no, I don't mean harass people. Please don't do that. I meant harassing snipers. Alright? Snipers are not people. We harass the shit out of snipers every chance we get. We have a thing, a glorious thing called the jamming missile. It disrupts all lock-on for enemies, but not for you. So you can throw this jamming missile onto somebody and still blast them away. We need to hit every sniper in the game at every stage in the game with the jamming missile, because you need to make sure the snipers have a miserable time. Because if you don't do your solemn duty to protect the rest of your team from the sniper menace, who will? Who will make sure that managed democracy reaches the far corners of the battlefield? If not for you. You have the power to rain down hell from the sky and prevent your teammates from getting one-shotted by the 2 snipers in the game right now. So make sure to rain down jamming missiles every single time you see a sniper appear on the field, because if you don't, they are also pretty much your biggest counter if they can blast you in the sky. Sky Raider is weak to energy damage, and it just so happens that both the snipers right now do energy damage. And you know, when I was writing a script, I put a whole section here about how Sky Raider counters. I was thinking about it, and on the first day, I had some answers. You know, I was gonna suggest stuff like Hurricane, Achilles, Inferno. But you know, after playing 4 days of the beta, I've earned a degree in Sky Raiderology. I've graduated with Sky Raiderology, and I can safely say that there are not many hard counters right now to this menace in the sky. And I think the only real hard counter, and this applies to basically everybody because Achilles is kind of ridiculous too, is Achilles has this claw maneuver. I had a video about it before, you can check it out there. But Achilles has this claw maneuver that can stun people and take them out of the air. And this is like the only thing that would shut down a Sky Raider, because if you don't, Sky Raider is really fast. The barrel roll will disrupt lock-on, and the jamming missile will prevent you from shooting at it. So unless you get that claw on, it's really hard trying to shoot down the Sky Raider. A good Sky Raider will bob and weave between the buildings and the skyline and the foliage and everything. It's in the goddamn mountains, it's in the clouds, it's behind the skyscrapers. You can't catch this thing. So instead, I would just mention that, hey, everything is subject to change here, and I'm glad that we got to test out the OP Sky Raider and suggest changes before a live release. And we don't know what they're going to add later. They could add a really cool blast-based or missile-based anti-air striker that we just don't know yet. But as it stands right now, I think that Sky Raider needs probably a 20 to 40% ammo regeneration nerf. More time to regenerate ammo basically on the missiles. And that's about it. Keeping it short and sweet for these videos. I got plans to make more this week. If you got any questions about the beta or Mechabreak, I'll put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them without breaking NDA. Get some water, touch some grass, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!